I'd like to speak with you, precious one, about one of the issues in our day. Very phenomenal and working or lurking around like a monster, which we need to employ divine wisdom, discernment, and tact to overcome, to manage and overcome. And what is this? What is this kind of monster? It is called betrayal. Now, the Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 24, verse 10, it says, "And many shall be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another." Many shall be offended, they shall betray one another, and they shall hate one another. Now, Jesus was responding to a 3-in-1 question. 3 questions from his disciples on the Mount of Olives. And these questions bordered on the end times. He says, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? So Jesus was speaking to the disciples about the end time. And one of the signs Jesus underscored for his disciples, and by extension us in these days, is betrayal, offenses and betrayal. He says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 10, "And many shall be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another." And this goes to add up to what Jesus said again in Matthew 24, verse 12. It says, "Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." So love is growing cold. Interesting, in days past, many centuries before, God spoke through the prophet Isaiah in chapter 49. He says, "Can a woman forget her suckling child, and not have compassion on the son of a womb? Yea, they may forget, yet I, the Lord, will never forget you." So God saw it many centuries ahead, that a time will come when women will give birth to children and put them in polythene sheets and drop them in pit latrine, or carry these children in baskets, drop them at the gate of certain people they suspect to be rich or well-to-do, and run away. Women forsaking their children, fathers forsaking. In fact, the fathers have been very good at it. They drop them. Some drop children like lizards and run away in different places. Now, this monster or vice called betrayal. Betrayal means to act. To betray is to act treacherously towards one's country. So it can be a country. Somebody's inside the country, opens the door to an enemy outside to come and topple the government of the country. So betrayal can be from one country to another. Betrayal can also be from person to person. Now, a husband can betray a wife, or a wife can betray the husband. Some wives some wives have run away from their husbands and eloped with their exes. Some husbands have also left their wives and gone to their exes or found another woman. That is betrayal. Betrayal of trust. When the person is unsuspecting, doing things behind the person, or exposing the weakness of your spouse to another who is not your spouse, is betrayal. Betrayal. A parent can betray their child to somebody. In fact, some parents have even sold their children, sent their children somewhere and left the children there and ran away. That is betrayal. A child can also betray their parents. Sometimes when some children grow up, they can decide to forget about their parents. That is betrayal. Now, betrayal may also mean unintentionally revealing information. Nobody has sent you to say something about somebody, and then you are revealing information. Maybe every family has its story or history, and somebody from outside may ask you questions about the family, And you, if you are not permitted, you are not being given permission to speak about the family, and you reveal these secrets or weaknesses of the family or history of the family, you are betraying the family. That is betrayal. So betrayal can be seen in many ways. Now, when Christians talk about betrayal, the person who readily comes to mind is Judas Iscariot. Now, Judas Iscariot was one of the disciples, the 12 disciples of Jesus. In fact, if Judas were in governance, he would have been a person with two portfolios, a member of parliament and a minister of state, maybe sector or regional minister. Why am I saying this? He was Jesus' treasurer. Though among the 12 disciples, he was keeping the money. He knew the ins and outs of the Messiah. And he got to a point, he came to betray his master with a kiss. Now, one way, and I'm speaking this, talking about this subject matter alongside how to overcome or manage it. So one way to manage betrayal is to understand that Jesus said the servant is not above his master. If they did it to him, they will do it to us. So once you understand that and you have the right perspective and you suffer betrayal, you breathe in and out and manage it. That the master went through it and therefore you're not exempted from it. If you want to enjoy the glory of the master, you must also be prepared to undergo the suffering and the trial of the master. The Bible says, if we suffer with him, we shall reign with him. So Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus, our master. And so we should not be surprised when we see betrayal amongst us, even amongst Christians. Betrayals amongst church members. Betrayals amongst leadership. There is betrayal within political parties, not only between parties.